My name is Naomi Marie Preheim, and I was called Omi from the time I was very young. So the business name is Omi Consulting. And I'm founder and CEO, principal of a business that primarily is about spiritual teachings of all sorts, from feng shui and astrology to mentoring, and I teach lots of metaphysical subjects, ancient wisdom. It's passion for me, and I love sharing the things that I've learned. I'm based out of Acton, Massachusetts, and I teach within the greater Boston area. Also, most of my work actually is national, and most of it I do via phone. Things that intrigued me were about how to find out what really mattered inside of me. I always felt like I could do many different things, which things would really make a difference in my life, be fulfilling and nurturing. And so I started studying with various and sundry people. One of my early teachers was named Margot Schmidt, and she was a very well-known spiritual educator and teacher. So I learned things like meditation and channeling, and went on from there. Passion. What has kept me in my career is pure passion. I love connecting with people. I love building a web of connectedness that ends up being or feeling like a basket that holds people so that they can share who they are freely with authenticity, so they can become who they really are and sparkle. In terms of the various roles that I play in my business, I'd have to say that I think I took the best gifts from my mother, who was a phenomenal teacher, a musician, and taught the arts, drama, etc. I'm a bit of a ham. And I also took the best from my father, who was an MD and a metaphysician himself. He was fascinated with philosophy and religion, and so we would have amazing conversations. And putting those two things together in my world has become teacher of spiritual subject matter. That includes, in the teaching, there is healing of the various bodies that we have. Energy healing is physical, but it can also be emotional, mental, and all the way to spiritual. And in the healing sessions, I can be teaching, and vice versa. For someone starting out in this, quote, industry, I'm not sure it's an industry, I would suggest that they first and foremost get to know themselves very well. And to do that, there's a lot of amazing educational tools that can either be found through teachers online, reading books. These are the pieces that will inspire whoever wishes to get into spiritual teaching, mentoring, education, healing, to become that themselves. It's almost like the medieval idea of the apprentice and the master, that you learn by being in the presence of, by watching, modeling. Probably the thing that answers the question, what I'm most passionate about, is creating environments that feel safe. People can feel vulnerable and okay to be really who they are. Whether you do that as a mother, or that's certainly true in feng shui, creating an environment that flows easily and is in harmony with nature, allows an individual to be really comfortable in their own body if they're comfortable in their environment. I want to add that communication is the baseline of everything that we do. I feel that communication has to do with the conversations we have inside ourselves, so it's about self, the conversations we have with God or Source or whatever you want to call that, and with each other. And this is what gives life meaning, that we mirror for each other what it is that we are here in this body, in this life, to do, to be, to become. And so I'm hoping to share that message with as many people as I can in such a way that they can become who they are meant to be. I feel that the work that I do is so relevant in the world today because we live in a time of immense change. There's intense energies around us, there's lots of chaos, and people are not likely to make change of their own volition. And yet change is what allows us to grow beyond where we were. So it's both a time of fear and an excitement. And I am of the opinion that the kind of things that I can offer people is partly to help them navigate the high seas and waves of change that are occurring. So it's a navigation tool, and ultimately to come to a sense of peace in being exactly where we are. I feel that my background as a Mennonite farm girl is very relevant to what I do, partly because Mennonitism is a traditional peace religion, which means it is about nonviolence and about stewardship of the land. There's also a strong interest in other religions as well, so I've studied Buddhism and Hinduism and Taoism. I find that all religions ultimately teach about peace. I've managed to travel to most of the continents of the world, and every place I go, I feel that people really want the same things, even if they're completely different race and religion. I feel that individuals throughout the world want to live in peace and safety. They want to have wonderful environments for their families and safe schools for their children. And I would hope that we can turn the world that we have now ultimately into a world that we all want to live in. Back in the 80s, came up with a mission statement for myself that I think still holds true, and that is that I choose to use my gifts and talents to empower others so that they can use their gifts and talents. Where do I go from here? I'm looking forward to doing what I love the rest of my life. I don't imagine that I'll ever totally retire unless God has other things in mind. And I feel so blessed that I live in a time where I've been able to study the arts, that I've been that free. So I hope to keep doing it.